caught my wife cheating on me on video, so I left. When I came back, I found her having a mental breakdown and my son abandoned, so I'm a bit lost. It's been about 2 weeks since I found out. I'd had suspicions for a while, many red flags, but nothing definitive. I decided to confront her, and her reaction was irrational anger. How could I accuse her of something like that? She would never cheat, that convinced me. So I used her phone and computer, but I didn't find anything. I bought some small cameras and placed them around the house. Then I went to visit some friends for the weekend. I grew up in Norway near the border with Sweden. I met my wife in Sweden when I was 20 and she was 21. I had a 3-year-old son when we met. We got along well, and I've been that boy's father for the last 11 years. I love that boy. I consider him my son. We've been married for 6 years. Although that doesn't matter. In short, I came home early when I knew she wouldn't be there, and I watched the security footage. There she was doing adult things with another man. I recognized him. As a work colleague, Theodore and I were friendly with him and his wife. I used to think that seeing red was just an expression, but I was seeing red. I'd never been so angry. I'm actually a very calm person. I never really get angry, but I just lost control. I punched the walls, slammed the bedroom door so hard it flew off its hinges, and smashed the glass table we had in the living room. I bit the inside of my cheek. I didn't even notice, but when I screamed, I sprayed blood all over the wall and floor. At some point, I managed to hit my head pretty hard, and that snapped me out of it. I looked at the destruction and knew I just had to get out of there. If my wife had walked in at that moment, I think I'd be in jail at best for domestic violence and at worst for murder. I quickly packed a suitcase with the essentials and my laptop. I work with simulation and modeling, and my computer is custom built. I need it to do my job. I sent a copy of the video to Theodore's wife. I didn't really write anything in the message other than, "Your husband is cheating with my wife." I found my son right outside our compound. From the apartments I gave him, a hug told him I would always love him, but that his mother was cheating on me. So I really had to leave. I'm sorry to tell you this. I shouldn't have to carry this burden, but I wasn't really myself at that moment, and it just came out. I went to the border. I wanted to go see my family in Norway, but they wouldn't let me cross because of COVID. I've been renting a cheap apartment and working, but I'm like a zombie. I haven't spoken to my wife. The only person I've responded to is my son. He's been asking me questions, and I've been honest with him as much as possible. I don't know what's going to happen next. Besides the divorce, I've been trying to find a good lawyer. I've received hundreds of messages from my wife and her side of the family. I haven't responded to any of them. My parents are the only ones who know my side of the story as far as I know. I don't want to talk to my friends because they're also friends with my wife, so I don't really have good support right now. I'm afraid that if I talk to her or see her again, I'll lose control and do something I can't undo. I also don't want to lose contact with my son, but I have no idea where to begin. I'm still seething with rage, and I don't know how to get over it. I need to respond to my wife at some point, but I'm so angry I don't think. Incapable of being rational, I just wanted to try writing this down and see if it helps. So far, I'd say it hasn't made any difference. Update 1. I'm improving. I actually visited a cage fighting club. I should emphasize that I don't know how to fight at all, and I'm not in very good shape. The few times I got into a fight in my youth, I got my ass kicked. I talked to them and explained the situation. They were really friendly and eager to help. First, they made me work out for 2 hours. When that didn't relieve my anger, they put me in the ring with a very experienced fighter. Of course, he was very gentle with me. Even though I did my best, I didn't even give him a good workout. He let me hit and kick him, but he easily blocked what I threw. The few times I managed to land a punch with any power, he quickly hit me back, since I have no idea what I'm doing. His gentle touches hit me hard. He always asked if I was okay. Before continuing, he even apologized a few times for hitting me during our little sparring session when he thought maybe he'd hit me too hard. Imagine that, apologizing for hitting your opponent in a fight. Clearly, he didn't see me as an opponent at all. I doubt he'll ever see me as a threat. I have a newfound respect for people who know how to fight, and I'm determined to learn. These guys were the most laid-back people I've ever met. I want to be as calm as them. My little spar helped a lot. It really relieved the tension. I don't have that burning anger anymore. I'm still upset, but it's manageable now. I'll be back to train and take more hits. Even so, I don't trust myself enough to meet my wife. I've spoken to my son. I told him that no matter what happens, we'll be okay. I consider him my son. no matter what happens between his mother and me. I think he really cherishes him. I've spoken to some mutual friends and their parents. Apparently, my wife has somehow fallen apart. She's been calling and talking to everyone at all hours, day and night. Apparently, she's confessed everything to almost everyone. She's even offered money to anyone who can put her in touch with me. I was considering speaking only with my wife through a lawyer, but I can't afford it. So I asked my cousin to act as an intermediary. I gave her some questions to ask so well. See where we get from there. I plan to contact the third person's wife next week as well. Some Reddit users strongly suggested that I talk to my wife and ask if I can adopt my son. I will consider reconciliation, but I would never do. That I will not use my son as a pawn in anything in the current situation. I would love to adopt him, but only if he asks me to, and only if I am sure that it is what he wants and that he is not being influenced or pressured by anyone. I will move forward. I feel like I have received a lot of good advice here. I feel like I now have a plan to move forward. Update 2. I apologize for the radio silence. I have been busy since my last post. I see a lot of questions in my private messages, so I thought it would be easier to give this update. I started calling my son twice a day after my last post. He always told me that everything was fine, but I guess he really wasn't. I was focusing on trying to control myself. I started attending individual counseling sessions, and that helped a little, but what really changed things was when I went to try boxing. The first place I visited was a bit shady and run down, but the 5 guys there seemed to have an amazing camaraderie, and I really wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to belong there. Everyone told me I had to talk to the old man. He was the owner of the place and apparently decided who could join. Everyone had a lot of respect for him, so I was a little apprehensive. Let's just say the old man has an abrasive personality. From the beginning, I just listened, but once he started talking, I was getting more and more agitated. There was nothing in particular I could pinpoint. Everything he said was true, and maybe that's what angered me, or maybe it was the tone. Every question or sentence was like an accusation of some kind. The old man made me feel like I wasn't good enough to be a member of his club, and suddenly I found myself in a position to argue with him so he would let me prove I was worthy. I still haven't figured out if he's just an idiot or some kind of genius. That said, the old man has positively affected my life in a very important way. Although he's very uncomfortable to be around, I'm starting to understand why people respect and admire him so much. The old man helped me understand why I was so angry and how to think more clearly about the future. It's a story in itself, but this is already dragging on. So, let's get back to the main issue. A few days after my last post, about 20 minutes after speaking with my son, he called me again. He was crying and apologized for lying to me. He lied. When he said that everything was fine at home, he went on to tell me that my wife was just sitting in front of the TV watching him. Even if she turned it off, she had nothing to eat. The house smelled bad, and the only thing she had eaten in the last 2 days were some sandwiches that a friend's mother made for her when she visited. Of course, I rushed home. I could smell the rotten garbage in the hallway. Even before I walked through the door, the house was absolutely filthy. Clearly, it hadn't been cleaned since I left almost a month ago. The floor was covered in crumpled sheets of paper, dirty dishes overflowing in the sink, broken glass on the floor, and an absolutely disgusting smell of rotten garbage. I went to check on my son. First, I bought him a hamburger. On the way, I asked him to stay in his room and eat while I went to talk to his mom. Let's make sure he cried and hugged me for a bit before I went to see his mother. That hug felt so good. I had missed him so much I will never leave him again. My wife was sitting watching the screen as my son had described it to me. What he didn't tell me was how bad she looked. She had lost a terrifying amount of weight. She was just skin and bones. Her eyes were sunk in dark circles under her eyes, lifeless skin, cracked lips, dirty, messy hair, dirty clothes. I grabbed a chair and sat between her and the television. The smell coming from her was absolutely terrible. There was a bucket on the floor. Later, I discovered it was half full of week-old vomit. I felt a deep pain for her. I wanted to protect her, help her, make her feel better. For a while, I completely forgot what I had done. Seeing her like that was truly painful for me. I guess. Somehow I still love her and care about her, despite what she's done. That fact terrifies me a little. There's something wrong with me. I think I didn't know what to say to her, to be honest. Clearly, she wasn't fully there. In fact, she asked me if I was real. When I said yes, she burst into tears. a way I'd never seen anyone cry before. Her crying, or rather her wailing, was so loud that it startled me without warning. Mid-scream, or rather she stopped. She was asleep or passed out. I put my Fitbit on her arm because I don't know how to take someone's pulse. Her heart rate was fluctuating between 100 and 150, so I thought I know it probably wasn't good. Let's make sure I checked her face before running to ask our neighbor for help. They were happy to look after our son while I took her to the hospital. She's been there for 7 days now. I think. I'm a little confused with the days, to be honest. I visited her once, but she got so upset when she saw me that the doctors recommended I not visit for now. They don't have a diagnosis for her yet and have no idea when or even if she'll pull through. I've been focused on taking care of my son and making sure it took us several days to clean the house. It smelled like rotten food, so I had to buy a new one. I also discovered that my wife had taken all my dirty laundry to bed and made a body mold with some additions to make it look anatomically correct. It's a little disturbing, to be honest. I went through all the papers she left all over the house. It's nonsense. Incoherent for the most part. Some pages have dates and times I can't understand most of it, apart from a few pages that have long lines of "I'm sorry" written on them. Most of the pages with text simply turn into a wavy line in the middle of a sentence. I don't know what to do. My anger has completely disappeared, replaced by sadness for the situation and the trauma and pain inflicted. I feel bad for my son. But I also understand why I was angry and how I've changed to deal with the pain. I've left a big part of myself behind, and she caused that. I don't know if I have the capacity to forgive that a big part of my personality was being a good husband and provider. For a long time, that part of me was mortally wounded by her infidelity. I left that part of myself behind too. It was painful to hold on to it. It's too soon to say anything about where we'll end up. For now, all avenues are open. I'm still hurt and confused. I'll just continue trying to rebuild my self-esteem and my self-image of masculinity. If my wife comes out of this ill, talk to her and see where I go from there. Right now, I need to focus on my son. I need to know that he's okay. Sorry. It's not something spectacular like the other stories I've read here with grounded confrontations and epic revenge. I'm exhausted and sad. I don't know what to do. Everything was so clear in my mind before I came back. Now I just don't see good ways forward. Update 3. I have some questions and maybe you can help me see this from different perspectives. If you're going to comment, please refrain from simply advising divorce. I will simply ignore those comments. I know that in the end, whatever happens is my choice. So I will choose what is right for me and my family, whatever that is. I haven't been sleeping much and am a bit foggy, so if I ramble a bit, please bear with me. I really appreciate all the different perspectives you provide. It really helps me reflect on things. My wife is still in the hospital and refuses to allow anyone to see her other than her mother. The only instruction she has given besides no visitors is that no one contact me on her behalf or try to pressure me in any way. She has confessed to cheating on almost everyone, but not in detail. Her calls have been panicked along the lines of, "I cheated, he's going to leave me. What do I do?" So people have basically left me alone, unless I've called them for help or opinions. My wife wrote me a letter. Her mother gave it to me a few days ago. It's long, 32 pages. I will try to summarize the main points here. She apologized for what she did to me, not our son, and says she will sign I put any paper in front of her without asking questions, whether it's the divorce papers or something else. She also confesses to having a 2-month emotional affair with another man online before the current one became physical. I didn't know anything about this, so I think she's being honest. Her confession is very detailed, and she gave me all her login credentials to confirm that she's honest and not hiding anything. She freely admits that she was captivated by the attention and excitement, but seems genuinely confused that she allowed this to actually happen. I think what she's written is true. Emails, messages, call logs, etc. support her story. She also pointed out a USB drive in one of her drawers containing a diary that spans almost 10 years. Her diary and her letter seem to be perfectly synchronized. From what I've read so far, she explains that the first online emotional affair was more like a game, just flirting without meeting. It continued until one day she suddenly felt compelled to message that guy. She ended it immediately but couldn't find the courage to tell me. When the main affair began, she felt flattered and received a lot. This guy gave her attention as a boost to her ego. He's a very handsome model type guy. And I met his wife and she is absolutely Stunning, a 10 out of 10 beauty who leaves you speechless. My wife's ego boost became addictive. It seems that receiving attention from this handsome guy who was married to such a beautiful woman gave her a huge boost. She felt she must be very special to surpass her lover's beautiful wife to get his attention. She admits she knew what she was doing was wrong, but she also seems genuinely confused that she couldn't stop. She hates herself for losing control. If I understand this correctly, the affair only became physical when the lover started losing interest in her. She began using sex to keep him interested to continue receiving his attention. According to the diary, sex seemed more like a chore for her. She doesn't seem to enjoy it. She does. It only to get more attention, as if it were a prize he gives her. It's clear she is dealing with guilt, especially at first, but she soon begins to compartmentalize it. But of course we drifted apart and our relationship suffered. While she was doing this, the affair was physical for 4 weeks, and they kissed and engaged in sexual activity 5 times according to her diary. And her confession. This is backed up with location data and credit card receipts from hotels, etc. The rest is history you already know. Her letter concludes with the following. I don't know who the person was who had the affair. Or at least I don't recognize myself doing it. I don't understand how I could so easily abandon my beliefs and values and seeing the people in my life that I love more than anything. I don't know why I couldn't stop. I'm not insulting you by asking you to understand or forgive me because I don't deserve understanding or forgiveness. My only hope is to be able to be of use in some way to help you and our child heal. I will do whatever you ask without asking questions. I will do anything if you think it can help. In any way, no matter how big or small, I will live with my mother. Once I am discharged from here, I will walk away unless you ask me to be there. I don't want to remind you with my presence of the pain I have caused you both. I have no words to tell you how sorry I am for what I did, and my greatest wish is that you heal and find someone worthy of your love with whom you can be happy, Heather, so that you haven't permanently destroyed your ability to trust and love someone deserving in the future. I won't be with anyone else because I'm clearly not safe to be with. I will seek therapy to try to find and maybe someday heal what's wrong with me. But to this day, I really don't know who I am or why I couldn't stop doing these things. I knew. What I did was wrong, that I was hurting everyone, including myself, but I did it anyway. I was selfish. I caused all of this just to feel a little better about myself for a brief moment. Once I saw the pain on your face in the camera you left in the bedroom, the heartbreaking pain on your face as you watched the tape with me and the other man. In that moment, I realized how delusional I am and how terrible and evil I've become. I fear there is no salvation for me. I will always love you. I wish I could undo it all, take it all back, but I can't. I cried badly reading this, and I really don't know what to do. I've been up all night reading, and I'm emotionally exhausted, confused, and unsure about everything. I rewatched the video, and I also watched the video of when I went crazy. I don't remember much of what happened in the video. It's very painful to see my wife's actions, but I've been watching it over and over again. Why can't I stop watching it? It's also very disturbing to see myself going crazy, and I can't stop doing that either. I keep going back and watching it over and over from beginning to end. It's hurting me, so I don't understand why I do it. Also, is it even possible that a person can be drawn into an affair where the behavior becomes compulsive, as she describes it, where it's no longer truly a free choice? Perhaps someone who has been unfaithful could share some perspective. I also see clearly in her diaries that she probably developed depression a few years ago after the death of her favorite aunt. Her outlook on life becomes very dark after this, almost hopeless. I've read other stories where depression seems to cause drastic personality changes and trigger affairs. Any perspective on this would be appreciated. Clearly, she never loved any of these men. I loved the ego boost, the increase in self-esteem, the excitement I felt. Apparently telling her the right things on the day she cut her lover out of her life completely and called her wife to tell her about the affair. I know this because the lover's wife told me. When I actually saw her, she asked if we could have a revenge affair. She was very focused on this, as if getting revenge that way would help in any way. But aside from her beauty, she's probably the most annoying woman I've ever met. Talking to her was like nails on a chalkboard. Needless to say, no. We'll have an affair and never meet in person again. I don't know what to do now. I can't sleep. I can't really think straight, so I could really use some help. Update 4. I'm very grateful to everyone on this forum. I've received a lot of help in coping better with this mess. am doing well. Now I feel like I'm in control of things again. I've been trying to see my wife. She still refuses and acts as an intermediary. I tried to remind her of her promise in the letter that she would do anything if she thought it would help in any way. So her mother relayed the message that I believe talking would help. I also asked her to see her doctor together to try to understand. The doctor won't tell me anything without her present. We'll try to be patient. In short, I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, and my wife was diagnosed with persistent depression and some bipolar disorder. She has a chemical imbalance in her brain, and they are trying different medications for her. Many of you were right. Her condition made her vulnerable. Then a predator crossed her path, and here we are. The lover has been consistently cheating on his wife throughout their relationship, with several women simultaneously. They are getting a divorce. The lover was beaten up a little. Not seriously, from what I've heard. The lover's wife called the husbands of most of the women he had affairs with. A friend is staying with me most days. He keeps me focused. This weekend, I'm going camping with my son. I was trying to confirm if the descriptions in her diary were correct, that she considered sex a chore, seeing her disconnected behavior and facial expressions in the video. Basically, she's just waiting for it to end. I haven't decided what to do, but I've deleted the video of her and me. It was driving me crazy. It only caused me pain, and I couldn't keep it. A part of me is screaming that I should just leave, let her run and find someone else. And if she cheats again, how can I trust her? Can I get rid of the movie that keeps playing on a loop in my mind? I'll get a divorce in X years because I can't get over this, etc. I struggle a lot with these kinds of questions, but divorce would definitely mean losing some daily contact with my son. And there's no doubt he needs me, at least for now. He's afraid of being abandoned, which isn't strange considering recent events. I think if I leave his mother now, it would make things worse. For him. If I can leave her as she is now, what's stopping me from leaving him? Hell, probably see it this way. We've both started going to the boxing gym together, and we're closer than ever. Being there for my son is giving me tremendous strength and motivation to face this with an open mind. He's leaning on me a lot right now. Even if I decide to get a divorce, I'm not sure I can pull it off in the short term. He's begged me not to leave him again. The 2 weeks I was gone were very traumatic for him, and I won't put him through that again. There's no telling how long it will take for his mother to. I need to stabilize enough to be a good mother again. If I divorce now, maybe, I'll never recover. Even if I divorce her, it'll never get better. He'll still have the pain. He'll still have the scars. He'll carry that into any new relationship. I think that would greatly reduce the chances of such relationships being successful. It's not as good for me to be with her while I try to heal. At least she'll know why I'm acting this way and understand why I'm struggling. If I leave her, what's really in store for me out there? Single women my age seem to be divorced for good reasons or are so consumed by the desire for children that they aren't really considering whether the person they choose is a good long-term partner for them. They seem very willing to play a role just to enter a relationship that can't last long. It seems to me there's a high risk of a string of doomed relationships from the start because one party is desperate, and I'm broken. Dating strangers and random casual encounters doesn't really appeal to me. Besides, how long would it take me to find someone who understands me as well as my wife? She's the only person in my entire life I've felt truly understands me, and it took a long time to get to that point. It's not something I could use in my own healing. I could find someone again that I could do that. How long would it take? There's no guarantee that a new partner won't cheat too, given the circumstances. In fact, I think the chances of my wife cheating again are lower than with a new partner. My son also needs his mother, and she needs to heal before she can take on that role. Will she heal faster and better if I divorce her? Or will she heal better if we try to reconcile? I don't even know. It's driving me crazy. How can I know it's safe for her to be around my son if I'm not there with him? As for my own healing, would I be better off alone or with her? Based on what I've learned here, it seems those who choose to jump to divorce don't heal very well. It seems the best outcome in terms of healing is when the unfaithful partner actively contributes to the healing for a minimum of 5 years. I don't know if she's capable of doing that right now, to be honest. So here I am, terribly conflicted. I have a million questions in my head, and basically zero answers yet. I'm struggling with both extremes, reconciliation or divorce, and everything in between. I can't deny that I still love my wife. It turns out my bond with her doesn't break so easily. I really don't want to love her. This proud part of me wants me to hate her. But I just can't lie to myself. I still love her deeply. And even though I fantasized about things going as badly for her as they did for me in the first few weeks, I don't want to hurt her or anyone else. It wouldn't help me at all. I see a long and painful road ahead of us. I hope I have the strength to stay the course and be patient enough to make sure I make the right decisions for my family and me. The only thing I've been able to decide is that if I choose to offer reconciliation, it won't come easily. It'll need to see some effort until I'm absolutely sure that we're both 100% committed to that path. Besides, if we reconcile, she'll basically be a prisoner on parole. I don't want to be that guy, but what choice do I have if I feel like I can't trust her? Either way, we'll need a lot of therapy. Maybe she doesn't even want to reconcile. I just don't know. Not being able to talk to her is starting to become a real burden for me. It's stressing me out. I feel like I really need to talk to her. If anyone has good suggestions for these conversations, I'm all ears. Thanks again to everyone.